Hello, welcome back everyone to our next match of EVE Online's 11th Alliance Tournament. This is CCP Fozzie, joined by CCP Dolan. Right before we start this match, I want to let everyone know that you should start bugging CCP Loxy in stream chat and on Twitter and everywhere to play the good waffle ad, because he knows which one it is, and he keeps not playing it for some reason. Anyways, our match is actually between Exodus and Exiled Ones. Exiled Ones currently have a Vindicator that is not on field. It's possible that he had a disconnect and may be able to come back. We'll have to see. Dolan, why don't you walk us through the teams here?
So we have the triple Dominic setup from Exodus. We're about to hear potentially what's happening with this Vindicator, but this is the similar setup to what Exodus flew yesterday, very similar to what they flew during our practice tournament. It's a really, really strong setup. I've yet to see them lose a ship with it, except to a boundary violation, which I think they did on purpose yesterday.
Yes, yeah, they micro-jump drived out so they could get the first boundary violation. Dominic's very strong setup. Might have trouble against a bunch of Vindicators, except that one of the Vindicators isn't here. So that's not great for Exiled Ones. If they can't, then they're going to have no Vindicators soon, because that's the primary that Exodus has chosen for them.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, we've had a DC, and there's no word of the person coming back.
So he can come back.
He can.
Did he DC before he got into the arena? Okay. All right, so he DC'd too early, and that means that before he warped into the arena, which means he can't come back. So that Vindicator is just straight up gone.
Yeah.
So they do not have a Vindicator on the team. Bad luck for Exiled Ones. Very sorry, but that means that Exodus is going to take this pretty easily, I think. They're just working their way through the Vindicator of Jenkira there.
Yeah, it's pretty. You have to be pretty much heroes to win a match 20 points down from the very first second, and to lose a Vindicator in a double Vindicator Balgorn team.
When you're against one of the best tournament teams. Exodus, a group that did extremely well in our
with
what
I have to assume is their most practiced setup.
Yes, this is what they brought yesterday too. They did great in the last Alliance tournament. They've done great in the Syndicate Competitive League, which is a really great player-run tournament if anyone's not familiar with that. So they're a very strong team, and this is just going to be, I think, a walk in the park for them because of that Vindicator being gone. Otherwise, it's possible Exiled Ones could have pulled this out. This is, these ships don't die too quickly to the sentries from the Dami, and if they got on top of one, they could probably kill one pretty fast.
Yeah. So just to clean this up, so that Vindicator got teleported back to Jita, are actually are the main trade hub of the game. This tournament does occur in the EVE Online universe. Of course, EVE Online, single shard. Everything that happens in the same universe. Everyone that plays EVE Online plays it with each other on the same server.
Yep, we can get more than 65,000 people online at once in the same...
Exactly. More so than any MMO there is, pretty much, period. And the biggest battles and all that sort of things. But we saw some interesting things happen before. Last night even as well. That same trade hub, someone decided Molluses were too good in the tournament and just bought all of the Molluses.
Yep.
Just every single one that there was.
We've seen that kind of metagaming quite a bit. It's obviously something that is a big part of EVE Online. People are encouraged to use their creativity and cleverness to gain an advantage. And in this case, what people have been doing is buying up key ships and also key implants and just clear them off the market so that the other guys can't resupply for their tournament teams.
And our most hardcore teams actually prepared for this and have tournament stores.
Yes.
Where they pack all their tournament stuff that they might need for a rainy day, just so they're ready to go whenever, and nobody can really mess with them. We see the Balgorn of Sin Evil falling down. It's a real shame for Exiled Ones, but this is a tournament you have to have a reasonably responsive connection, reliable. You've had weeks to practice this to know if you're going to drop. Don't fly for the tournament. Help your team practice. Assist your team in that way.
Yeah.
But don't risk a connection problem in the actual tournament live. Because there's no stopping this. Once it's started,
we just have too quick of a schedule to be stopping for people like this, unfortunately. And it does suck for Exiled Ones, but they aren't out. They're not knocked out of the entire tournament. This is just them. They're going to be moving down to the elimination bracket. So if they keep winning matches and don't have more disconnects like this, they can pull it back and make it to the finals.
So one of the things I'm interested to see is this is the only team I've seen from Exodus. Throughout both the practice matches and this weekend. Perhaps this is a team that they've designed just to coast through the first weekend. They think whoever we fight, we're ready for it because they've seen the schedule ahead of time. They know who they're going to fight. But I'm going to be interested to see, once they start encountering bans, are there other setups better or worse than this one?
I'm sure they've got some other great setups. I think it's very clever fielding the same two setups this weekend because you know these Dominis are going to get banned a lot. So if you want to use them, you might as well use them now. This is the time to take advantage of the Dominics. It's really, really flexible in tournament environment. It does a lot of the things you need it to do. So field them now, and you're not showing off anything new. You're just showing off a setup that everyone knows about, that everyone's familiar with, and then most people are going to ban out.
But as the last few ships dies for Exiles ones, you have to hope that this is not their best setup, that they're putting this up so that you have to ban Domis against Exodus, but then they can bring something better. If they brought their best setup this weekend and the Dominix, if the Dominix was their best setup, they should bring something else, like triple Vindicators, so this is what I need to ban against them. They've never brought a Dominix. Why ban Dominix against them and then bring it out when you really need it?
Well, I think people are going to be banning the Dominix no matter what. Even against a team that hasn't been known to bring them yet, they have to know that they're going to be popular.
Yeah.
A lot of other teams have run them, so you kind of ban based on that meta pretty heavily. So actually, I think you're probably not going to really want to hide a team that's this common. If you have the same team as everyone else in your pocket, you might as well use it early because you're not giving away anything really, other than the fact that you can use competently the same team that everyone else has noticed is good. Which they obviously are. Like, these guys know how to use the Domi setups. We've seen Domi setups used poorly. We've seen them used really well. Exodus is a team that's been able to use them quite effectively. They haven't killed this last Merlin yet. They're having a little trouble catching him, I'm guessing. They may be trying to loot the field a little bit.
There he goes. As that last Merlin of 4 dies, that's going to be the end of the match. Exodus moving on in the undefeated bracket. Exiled ones moving on to the elimination bracket. We'll be back in a few seconds with CCP Rise and CCP Fozzy for Shadow Cartel versus Darkside.
Looking forward to that one.